Welcome back to the channel, which is growing a lot quicker than expected. Thank you so much everyone for giving me your time, subscriptions, attention. Honestly, this is mega, so let me reward you. Welcome to the BMW 318D, the BMW that you didn't know that you actually needed, and let me tell you why. This 3 Series is actually a complete surprise in a lot of ways. It looks fantastic, first of all. You know, bearing in mind, obviously, the age and usage, etc. But here's the key detail. The reason why I find this car so unique, in the budget market, it has a real trick up its sleeve. If you wanted a cheap BMW diesel, you go for a 320D, a 520D, give or take, and you get a nice 2-litre diesel, which is going to be really, really good on fuel. However, this one has gone an extra mile above that. Because this is the 318 diesel, what you didn't know is that this one is even cheaper on insurance. The insurance group on this is 23. If you wanted the equivalent 320D, it is about 28 or 29, I believe. And the funny part is the hardware is exactly the same. Same engine, same gearbox, same car, just different software. What that ultimately means is you can buy a 318 diesel, is £35 a year to tax to kick off with, dirt cheap to buy, dirt cheap to run. I'm averaging about 65 mpg give or take on the motorway. They're incredible, and even then we still haven't brought up how good it looks. This is a very, very nice car, very presentable, and because it's the Sport Edition Plus, it has cool extras like those M Sport Star wheels. Obviously, you're going to get wear and tear on a car of this age. This is the one thing I love. You can see the intercooler. As I'm banging on about how good this car is as a budget car, let me tell you what makes it feel the complete opposite. Forget about the fact that it's smooth to drive, cheap to run, cheap to insure, cheap to tax. In terms of the snobby parts to it, it has a full leather interior. It has dual zone climate control. It has rear parking sensors. It has rear privacy glass. In terms of justifying its cost, I really don't have to. You know when you buy a budget car and you can tell when you're driving it, you go, this feels like a budget car. This doesn't feel like a budget car. As a BMW 3 Series, they drive great. They drive really, really well. Obviously, we'll take it for a drive shortly. Now, in terms of mileage, this one has done 148,000 miles, which for a lot of people who don't know any better are going to run away, kick and scream, and of course try and find the next thing which looks like it will do them better, but it won't actually do them much better. These engines, N47 engines, we've gone over this a couple of times, they are notorious for issues, reliability issues for a lot of people. This is the revised version. So this is an LCI model, which means it's a facelift. In the facelift model, they revised the engine and made it a lot more reliable and more efficient, hence the £35 a year road tax. But the key detail with the reliability is make sure the car has regular servicing. Make sure it gets regular oils changed. Make sure the filters get changed, not just the oil. Be very careful when you look at the service history, because a lot of cars do not have the filters changed. They might have stamps to prove the oil's been changed, but not the filters. As a practice, the first thing I do when I pull a car into stock is I check its filters to make sure they're clean and clear, or at least have been done when the last services were done, so they've not been in there for say 10 years or so, because that is where it becomes dangerous for the car reliability wise going forward. Just because the car has been serviced now doesn't mean that in the past it hasn't already suffered because of its neglect. I'm happy to say though, this one has been looked after really, really well. Loads of service stamps, most of them from main dealerships, including myself. We've just serviced it and we've changed all the filters, so we know it's good. Because it is a budget car, you're not going to get absolute guarantees all round, because it is a used car that, let's be honest, has already had a life. Even though I've done some preparations on getting this car up to standard, there have been a few little details which have been a complete pain in the over the past couple of days. First thing I noticed when I bought the car is it popped up with an annoying chime on the dashboard with a light bulb symbol. I thought, oh no, a bulb has gone. I've never had a bulb situation. Yeah, that's the annoying noise it made. I've never had a bulb make as much of a headache as this one. So we know these to be halo ring, angel eyes, whatever you want to call them, but these are basically the side lights. So the issue I had was the driver side one worked, the passenger side one did not. Now, for OCD, this is a big problem on its own. But I had to get it sorted because, quite frankly, even I couldn't live with it, let alone put it out there with that. Annoyingly, with these ones, you have to pull out the entire rear assembly of the light cluster, and you then have to decipher right in between all the components. A bit of a pain, but we got to the bulb. When we got to the bulb, it was a bulb which we'd never seen before. H10W, I believe was what they called it, and it was a nightmare to get hold of. Thankfully, we managed to get hold of one for about £3.60. Obviously now it's all sorted and it only costs £3.60 to fix. And a little bit of trauma. When you're buying used cars, you're going to have faults on the cars. Part of your job, you pull it in, you're going to have faults. The car's been used and people have neglected it a bit. You get it for a good price, you're going to fix some faults. Some of them are going to lead you on a wild goose chase. Even towards the end, you don't get the goose, you're still going to chase it. So one scenario I really wasn't prepared for was this. I picked up this car from Nottingham, drove it back on the motorway, which was fantastic, by the way, cruise control as well. Yeah, it's mega. But after I got back, I realised, hang on a second, central locking's not working, rear windows aren't working, and the boot doesn't open. The problem was, the issue started on a Friday, and annoyingly for us, we tried over the weekend to check the wiring to make sure that the car was getting correct power in all the right places. The JBE module is basically the gateway module. It's what provides power to all the rest of the modules in the car. So if that has trouble, then it's going to be a bit of a wild goose chase chasing everything. The code that came back basically said that there was a power supply interruption, and then when you tried to unlock or lock the car, or even put the rear windows up and down, it would come up saying that there were relay issues in the JBE still. So we thought, well, it's a small chance, maybe the JBE's gone pop. Maybe one of the relays has gone bad, we don't know. So to be safe, we ordered another JBE module. Annoyingly, waiting for that to arrive, bearing in mind the car went in on Friday, the JBE arrived on Wednesday. The problem still remained. I was chasing this until the sun went down, and I'm really embarrassed to say it turned out to be a missing fuse. You don't know how pissed off I was when I found that out. Of course, I'm happy the car's fixed. Why did it have to be something so small and simple? The worst part is my missus was constantly saying to me, oh, it would just be a fuse. I said, no, darling, it won't be a fuse. Like, it's more complicated than that. The car would have been done and ready by Friday, Saturday. Instead, what, today's Thursday? Yeah, I fixed it yesterday, Wednesday. The car's now been listed as of today, Thursday. The JBE module wasn't much. It was only like 13 quid, so it wasn't the money that I'm annoyed about. It was simply the wasted time. You might remember the first video of me starting this business. I'll put it in the description, the link. That one, if you remember the first BMW 3 Series I pulled in, it was a 320i E90 Coupe. Really nice car, but it had that annoying fault. And we found in the end that it was 3 fuses missing from the fuse box, which supplied power to the traction control module. That, it turns out, is really common. First thing to do when you get one of these cars is check the fuses. You'll probably fix 95% of your problems. Even though the tread was good, the front tyres had some slashes on the inside, so we'll put some Pirelli tyres in the front, so that's all sorted. Obviously, driving back from Nottingham, it was raining, so the car's also had some new wipers. Have I had a single car yet where I've not changed the wipers? But after getting past all that BS, a 318D is a very smart choice. If you don't want people knowing you've got a 318D, just debadge it. One way of knowing it's an LCI is the rear lights are now LED. Nice little touch. And you know what? I think it works in white. I know you get the really cool blue one, they're nice, but I think it definitely works in white. It's very classy. So are all the faults now fixed? No. There's one more fault, but not to worry, I'm already ahead of it. The auto stop-start feature, which 80% of us don't even like anyway, we normally just turn it off or deactivate it entirely, isn't working. Now, it's not the end of the world, but if I can sort it, I'd rather sort it. Typically, this car has a sensor which has malfunctioned. It's the brake vacuum pressure sensor, which is very common on these. And if one of those goes funny, the auto stop start won't work and you'll see this symbol. It is a very cheap job to do, and it's a very easy job to do. The part, weirdly, we ordered from Amazon, and it costs less than 15 quid. And it's about half an hour to put it in. That'll be here tomorrow, and that'll be in by tomorrow, at which point, problem solved. For less than £3,000 retail, this is exactly the kind of thing you want to be hoping for. I do love these wheels as well. I have to be honest, I love them. I think they work so well. BMWs are known to drive really well. They're known as the driver's car's driving simulator, which they probably stole from Gran Turismo. If I owned this car, what would I do? I would remap it straight away. The 318D is detuned to about 150 horsepower, 140, 150, somewhere in that region. The 320D is about 170, give or take, horsepower. Again, they're the same engine, they're the same hardware, same gearbox, same everything. So if you remap to 320D and you got 200 odd horsepower, maybe more, it would be exactly the same as if you remapped a 318D. They would tune to the same level as what a 320D tunes to. But the big difference is you've got the cheaper insurance and you've got the cheaper road tax by far. You remember this generation of 3 Series came with these keys? Made it seem like it was keyless go with a button, but you still had to put the key in, so we'll give it to them. Front tyres, 80 quid. Servicing, wipers, plates, 200 quid. Side light bulb, £3.60. The JBE module, £12.88. And the brake vacuum pressure sensor was £14.58. That was basically all the repairs the car needed, which was really good, I think. Bearing in mind the JBE module, it didn't need. It turned out to just be the fuse, and we're not going to really count the fuse. You're talking pennies at that point. You know, we had a really, really good summer, so that means that this winter we're now in trouble. We're going to pay for it. Might be a saloon, but it feels good already. The position feels good. To be honest, I was surprised when I found out that this has got Bluetooth built in for your phone calls. I didn't expect it. You just hit menu and go to telephone, and that's it. So it would come through the car if there was anything. Again, I really want to thank you all for joining me on this journey, because it's just as much fun for me as it is for you, trust me there. So let's get on the road. Obviously you can hear slightly rattly diesel. It was a notorious thing with these engines, just the sound of it, a bit tractory, but we all forgave it because it performed so well and saved us so many coins. So we're going up a hill now, and there's no effort at all because the turbo boosts nice and low down. Again, if you mapped it, there wouldn't be any issue in the slightest. It would be the opposite problem of coming off the throttle. It's not an M Sport, but it's a Sport Plus edition, which is basically 90% towards the M Sport. So you get all the M Sport bits and bobs that you want, but you don't get the drawback of it being unbelievably hard suspension-wise. It still feels very, very comfortable, even though it takes the bumps and corners really well at the same time. Remember, this is the car that in your head you're saying it's the budget 318D. In my head, it's a 320D that's just been detuned. But again, I get all the benefits of insurance and tax. £35 a year to tax. Yeah, you can afford more, but it's appealing because it just takes the stress away from it. 35 quid, done. Don't have to worry about it. There's the auto stop start that's telling me I don't work, and I know what it is. It's just a sensor, so I'm not really too fussed because that'll be in by tomorrow. I do have some news though. I've been speaking to this landlord over the past few weeks trying to make a deal, and I'm really happy to say we have come to a deal, and I get my first unit in the space of a week or so. And I'm absolutely thrilled because that means for the first time I can move away from doing this at home. I don't have to bring anyone to the house when I'm selling the car. I don't have to store the cars on the drive. Of course I can take them to and from. I could use it if I want to, but I don't have to, which I'm really, really thrilled about. So obviously we'll do a video when I get the keys to that unit, but it just means that I can store my cars there. I can store many more there. This road goes to a slightly faster one, so there's no sport button, it's just your right foot. So let's give it some. There's no problem with speed at all. Now in terms of the corners, yeah, it's still a 3 Series. It's still a beautiful 3 Series that just does the job well. 6-speed manual, obviously. Feels good. It's like a short shifter, but like a comfortable short shifter, if that makes sense, strangely. It's a comfortable car to do this in. That's the weird thing. Even the speeds I was doing in the Abarth, it's kind of like an MX-5. There's a lot of low-speed fun. You don't get the low-speed thrill in this, but what you do get is when you are giving it some high speed, it's just very comfortable, and it takes away from the sense of drama. See, incredibly, I had the Lexus IS220D, which was pretty much a direct competitor to the 320D. I had that car for 6 years, and I have a lot to say about it. To me, it was one of the most reliable engines I ever experienced. Unbelievably, a lot of people think the opposite. There's many, many videos I've watched where people say it's deadly unreliable and it will leave you stranded. Hitchhiking. No, not at all. Not if you know what to do, and not if you know exactly what to maintain. There's certain things that people don't maintain, and because of that, it went down. That's actually quite an important topic, that car and that engine. So I think I'm going to do that as a video coming up, because that's something which is probably going to benefit a lot of people. Mine was 250,000 miles, and it would have done a lot more had I kept it. If I had a gun to my head, I would go for a 5 Series. I would say 7 Series, but then I have to get the 730D, which kind of puts you out of the whole budget running thing. So if we say a 520D, well, a 520D is, again, the same engine. One of the benefits of getting the smaller 3 Series is that you can go for the detuned version. Can't do that with the 5 Series. You know when you want a car to be predictable in how you drive it? You know when you turn into a corner and you want to know how it's going to behave and how much it's going to react to your steering input and your throttle input? This car does that. This is what made these 3 Series and BMW in general, to be honest with you, such a popular option for the driver's car, because we put an input in, being steering, throttle, whatever, and there was not as much delay. You feel the road a lot more. That's what we wanted. In an Audi or a Mercedes, you're not feeling the road as much. You're trying to take away that element of feeling the road so that it feels like you're more cocooned. Whereas in the BMW, we couldn't care less. We just want to feel everything so we can go, yeah. Obviously, these things are rear-wheel drive as well, so make of that and do with that what you will. I was looking at a car the other day that was serviced only at Halfords. Safe to say I didn't buy it. The funny thing is, I was looking into the whole timing chain thing with this car, because obviously the timing chains are on the back of the engine and everyone is scared to death of these because the timing chain, if it goes, is a big job, which is valid. However, I had a good look into it. These revised N47 engines don't have anywhere near as many failures compared to the original ones. There's a big thing right there. Furthermore, a lot of ones that failed typically weren't serviced as well as they should have been, or as frequently as they should have been. Yeah, officially speaking, you're not even supposed to be doing it. You won't believe that at 148,000 miles, there's no rattles, there's no cold start rattles, the engine is smooth, the idle's perfect. Clearly, if it's looked after really well, serviced up properly and everything, it's going to do you really well. The good thing about the chains, as opposed to the belts, is that if a timing chain is going to give you trouble, you'll get a lot of early warning signs. Cold rattle starts, rough idles, that kind of thing. It'll be obvious to know that the car's not happy. This one though, and this is one of the reasons I'm so thrilled, is it hasn't got any of those symptoms. It starts strong. There's no rattles, no cold start rattles. It pulls consistently, the turbo's consistent. It drives well, it feels strong, the gearbox still feels really strong. Like I said, it's a bit of a short shift, but that just adds to the driving element. And the bottom line is, I'm so comfortable right now. These are full leather seats in this one, and it is very comfortable. You've got the side bolsters here, which are just holding me in, so I can't actually go anywhere. It's incredible. For 318D, I'm being held in with proper side bolsters, proper sports seats, but they're comfortable leather sports seats, so I'm very, very happy with this. I'm not going to drag this one out, but this is a very, very, very smart choice. As you can tell, this journey is getting more and more interesting. Subscribe to this channel, and it has parking sensors. This channel is clearly going places. Thank you so much for supporting this journey, and thank you so much for subscribing. It's going to keep on growing. I'm going to make sure of that. Little bit of a hilarious fact. My neighbor ended up buying that Volkswagen CC. Remember the good old Passat, not Passat? My neighbor bought it, and it was hilarious because he loves it, which is wonderful. But when he picked it up, or we did the V5 change, he got in the car and the first thing I said was safe journey home, and he drove across the road and parked on his driveway, which made my day. But yeah, everything's going great. Really looking forward to getting this unit. It's not far now.